Hello, and welcome to Aesop Grimm's Chronicles, where the emphasis is on immersion and storytelling. While some games contain mature themes or language, you can expect clean commentary from me as a narrator. Additionally, I will provide a content summary in the intro video for each chronicled series, so no one is blindsided or surprised. Let's play a story. Welcome everybody, Aesop Grimm here, and this is the intro video for a brand new chronicle on this channel. We will be playing Crusader Kings 3. I happen to know, because of the trailer that I'm about to show you, that this game is rated M for mature, but I couldn't find it online to read you the rating summary. So, similar to Bannerlord, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you the game description from the Steam library. Then we're going to read the rating summary for Crusader Kings 2 because that applies to this game also. And then I'm going to explain to you why I think that this got an M for mature rating and why that's not really relevant to us. Okay, so an heir is born. Let's go ahead and get the first trailer going in the background. An Heir is Born. Paradox Development Studio brings you the sequel to one of the most popular strategy games ever made. Crusader Kings 3 is the heir to a long legacy of historical grand strategy experiences and arrives with a host of new ways to ensure the success of your royal house. History. Choose a royal or noble house from a number of realms on a map that stretches from Iceland to India, from the Arctic Circle to Central Africa. Guide a dynasty through the centuries, ensuring the security and power of each new generation. Gather new lands and titles to cement your legacy. Be a pious king to bring the religious powers to your side, or strike out on your own, designing your own splinter religion and earning everlasting fame or eternal damnation. Knights, peasant revolts, pilgrimages, Viking raiders. Experience the drama and pageantry of the Middle Ages. Okay. Then if we move over to the ESRB rating for Crusader Kings 2, it was rated T for teen for alcohol references, mild language, mild violence, and sexual themes. The rating summary reads as this. This is a strategy game in which players expand their influence and manipulate political ties in medieval Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. As players increase their territories and foster relationships with various figures, such as popes, barons, kings, etc., they can engage in military conflicts against opposing factions. Battles are represented by small characters briefly sparring on an atlas-like map. Casualties are listed on screen. Rival figures can also be imprisoned, executed, or assassinated, which is represented in text selection boxes. During the course of the game, some sexual material is described via on-screen text. Some characters can acquire a drunkard personality trait, and alcohol is occasionally mentioned in the dialogue. The words damn and hell also appear in dialogue. Okay, well then, what is it that made Crusader Kings 3 M for mature? Well, it has full frontal nudity for boys and girls, head to toe, anatomically correct. Did I say that word right? Anatomically? I don't know. But it's all there. Why does that not matter? Because there's a option to turn it off. And I'm putting these videos on YouTube, so I turned it off. We're not going to see any of that stuff. Now, as I understand it, there are actual legitimate gameplay reasons for that to be in there, but it's not a required thing by any stretch of the imagination. And so we're not going to use that. YouTube would not allow for that. And so that's not going to be in there. When it comes to, I guess this is as close to advice as I really try to stay away from advice. But when it comes to how to discern the nature of this game, you got to understand this is a game played on a map. It's a strategy game. You have little figures moving here and there. You have no cutscenes, no animated movies. You don't have any audio dialogue. It's all text. And so what that means is that the content that would be mature in this game, given the fact that I am disabling the nudity thing, is not visual oriented or audio oriented at all. And so I guess if you have toddlers in the room, I can't think of a reason why you would have anything to be concerned about. It's more like if you have teenagers in the room, then they can read if they're watching it with you or playing the game with you or whatever it is while this is playing in the background, they can read what's going on, and of course they have developed enough minds to understand the implications. And there is some adult stuff that goes on in this, and I don't just mean in the realm of relationships in the bedroom, if you catch my drift. I mean, and you should. I mean, that was pretty blatant, but I try to be clean, right? It's not just in that regard. It's also in the choices you're having to make regarding family members, regarding what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do in order to further your kingdom. A big part of this game revolves around pitting you between two very tough and oftentimes bad choices and making you it's designed to put you into a moral dilemma. Do you further your kingdom by doing this absolutely heinous act, or do you I guess choose nobility? And it's tough. It's really, really tough a lot of times. You're oftentimes having to choose between being, I guess, noble, our ideas of what noble should be, and Machiavellian or pragmatic. And they're oftentimes difficult choices to make. That it's awful tempting to go with that pragmatic choice, but golly, talk about gut wrenching sometimes. There's just some things, man. There's some things this game's going to make you, put you in a position to do or not do that are hard choices. So, what makes this game different than CK2? Well, the RPG factor. As I understand it, Paradox, they have a lot of grand strategy games. They have Europa Universalis, they have Hearts of Iron series, they have Stellaris. They got a bunch of games out there, and they all have fan bases. Victoria 2, or Victoria the franchise, I should say, and they have big fan bases for each of these titles. But no one has done, as I understand it, no one has done as good as Crusader Kings from all their titles, which is saying a lot because those titles have big fan bases. But Crusader Kings, as I understand it, is significantly ahead. And so Paradox was asking its fan base for Crusader Kings. When they started developing Crusader Kings 3, they were just asking them, what is it that you guys love about this game? What has you coming here? Because we know a lot of you play several Paradox games. And what has you coming back to Crusader Kings again and again and again and again? And people told them it was the personal aspect of it. Now, these are my words, but I believe from what I've read that this is accurate. They were saying you play as an individual. In Crusader Kings 2, it seems to be about you as an individual relating to other individuals and the furthering and the protection of your family first. And then after that, it's about nation states, governments, politics. In the other games, it's the other way around, it seems. You really play more from the wide eagle eye view of nation state level, or galactic empire. So Crusader Kings 2, I guess in a word, is more personal. And so when Paradox extrapolated all that data, basically what their conclusion was, the answer to the question we posed is that people really like the RPG nature, the role-playing game nature that Crusader Kings has is an edge over what the others have to offer, and that as an individual, and developing your characters. So they really tripled down on that, really tripled down on it. And the graphics are better in this game. The map is smooth as butter. You have 3D models for your characters now. They change as they age. You have skill trees and talent points to invest in. The way that technology works and how you can progress in your laws and build your government and progress in the building and advancement of your castles and stuff, all of that seems to be tied to technology in an even deeper way than it was in Crusader Kings 2. Maybe not deeper, maybe more interactive. It feels like you have a closer connection with the technology tree. It feels more personal than CK2 did. It's not just a click of a button. It really does feel like your people are focusing on this aspect right now, and you have to unlock these things, these components, before you can even think about starting to pass certain laws, such as hereditary laws, and so that's been really, really fun. And this game, guys, there's a lot going on in this game that I don't know about. I'm not an expert at all. And I'm telling you what I'm going to tell you right here, right now. It's risky, but I want to do it. In CK2, I hardly ever messed with the achievement system. And CK3, I want to get a start on that early and often. And so we're going to go for the Emerald Isle achievement, I think is what it's called. You can see from the graphic here, we're playing in 1066 AD. We're starting in Ireland. That's affectionately known as Newbie Island. It's one of the safest places to begin in a Crusader Kings game. And because we're going for that achievement, that means we have to play in Ironman mode. That means no takebacks. And if I die, I die. And gosh, that's going to stink. I don't want to start the series over again, but it makes me nervous too. I'm like, man, I'm doing this in public. What if I'm terrible at it? All those things, but I want that achievement. And so we'll learn this game together. I have plenty left I've done a little bit of a trial playthrough. I've never played far enough to actually get even in non-Ironman mode, and I haven't touched Ironman mode yet. But even without the risk of gaining that achievement is what I'm trying to say. So in a non-Ironman playthrough, I have not gone far enough to unite Ireland. And so there really is a lot for me to learn in this game, but we'll learn it together. And the game is really entertaining. It's really, really fun. It's almost like an old school release. I want to give Paradox credit here before we wrap this video up. This is one of the only video games I can think of in anything even remotely close to recent history. I'm thinking I'm an older person, so for me, recent history goes back a lot further than somebody who's, say, 22. So I'm thinking back to 2000. I cannot remember the last time I played a video game in the DLC and down the digital age that was released with so few bugs and that ran as butter smooth as this game does. This is like an old school release before the age of the internet, before digital downloads, before you could update a game online, with a patch. Your games had to be pristine or you had a bad reputation, and people wouldn't buy your stuff. And this game is really well done. It's really smooth and it doesn't seem to be buggy in the least. And so that's a hat tip to Paradox right there. It is a really fun game, and I hope we can get this achievement, but it should be a good time either way. So I think we'll go ahead and end it right there. What's that bring us to? Just about 15 minutes. Again, I am Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by this channel, and I will see you in the next episode where this story begins. Thanks for visiting Aesop Grimm's Chronicles. If you've made it this far in the video, please consider rating, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. I hope to see you in the next episode, and until then, stay shiny.